Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 42. Getting close to Lewis Hamilton numbers there. 42 of the Harder Soft F1 podcast. As you can see or hear, this is going to be a solo episode. Our good friend Adrian Huff has had some internet issues in the area. Classic Georgia. What are you going to do? So here in the office, got the Sportsnet logo behind me. A little outdated with some of these. I don't know if any of these guys are still on. Let's see. Not on Ottawa, not on Toronto, not on Montreal, not on Edmonton, not on Calgary. A little outdated, this picture behind me, but that's okay. We're in the Sportsnet offices. We film a quick solo episode. Didn't want to go a week without. As I said, unfortunately, Adrian's having some internet issues, so what are you going to do? That's life. I guess now that he's not here, I can tell this little secret story. So, as those who have watched or listened to the show will be familiar with, I'm not today, but frequently I'm wearing F1 merch, Lewis Hamilton merch, Mercedes merch, something F1 related, and Adrian has yet to have any. And maybe he has one, but Christmas, I was thinking, okay, he's gonna get some F1 merch. He didn't. He unfortunately did not. Now I got more, but he didn't get any. So I thought, you know what? We're gonna do a nice deed. My mom helped me with this, but get him some stuff, a couple Red Bull things, send him our business cards, have a nice package. I don't know what that was. Put a nice package together, send it off to him. He'll get it. It'll be a nice surprise. Oh my God, that's blah, blah, blah. Been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. Had a delivery date. Said it was delivered. Wasn't delivered. UPS didn't deliver it. They said it was to his neighbor. His family checked with a neighbor. Wasn't there. Now, I told him I was just sending him some business cards, so I wanted it to be a surprise. But yeah, he was going to get a bunch of Red Bull merch, and so it's very disappointing. A lot of money just down the drain. Time, energy. Really, I just wanted to do something nice for the guy. And now he's still without his merch. Unless this is all a play and he did get it, and he's going to double trick me and show up on the next episode with the merch on. Hey? Maybe that's the play. But yeah, that's the scenario. So we'll get right into the episode. I do have quite a bit of good stuff to talk about this week with you. So without further ado, it is lights out and away they go. Okay, already one technical difficulty down. Let's see. I think my computer died. We're at 2%, but we're plugged in. So, without further ado, for the second time, it is lights out and away they go. Welcome, racers, race fans, whatever you want to call yourselves. We've got a good one here. It's just me again, solo, riding solo dolo, but got some good stuff on the docket for you today. So let's get right into it. I'll pull up the sheet here. Seem to have misplaced. Classic me. All right. So right off the bat, there's this weird. I don't know if you guys have been hearing. This Mafia cartel guy, was arrested after a long time. Now, I would never bring this up on this show, but there's a tie to F1. There's a little F1 tie. That's very interesting. So, I'm just going to read here. Unlucky F1 fans look-alike finally arrested. Italian police have arrested Sicilian mafia boss Matteo Messina Denaro following a decades-long hunt a year and a half after a Formula One fan who bore a resemblance to the criminal was arrested in a case of mistaken identity. Denaro had been on the run since 1993 when he became one of Italy's most wanted men following a spree of bombings which killed 10 people and injured close to 100 more, which his Cosa Nostra mafia group was said to be responsible for. Skip ahead. So here's where it gets interesting. Ahead of the 2021 Dutch Grand Prix, an F1 fan from Liverpool who was traveling to Zandvoort to watch the race was arrested in The Hague while dining in a restaurant. The innocent fan was blindfolded and taken away to a high-security Dutch prison by police who had mistaken him for the internationally wanted crime lord Denaro. Europol, a Europe-wide law enforcement agency known for tracking down international criminals, is based in The Hague. An accelerated investigation of the fan's alibi and his identity concluded that he was, in fact, an F1 enthusiast from Liverpool and not part of an organized crime network, and he was released by the Dutch police. The real Denaro was finally arrested yesterday. So, imagine that. You just go to your first F1 race, and then all of a sudden, you're thrown to the ground, cuffed, taken into custody. Tough scene. So, yeah, not too familiar with Mafia, current Mafia stuff. Of course, like everyone, I'll watch Narcos and anything to do with Pablo Escobar. But, yeah, this is a new one. I hadn't heard this story, but tough break for, what was this guy's name? Not Denaro, he was the crime boss. But the guy, the F1 fan, that's just a tough break for him. So, yeah, check that story out. Pretty interesting stuff. But on to some actual Formula One news. I gotta say, this is kind of hard to do by yourself because there's no transitions, but we're just moving on. Williams has finally named their TP, as we call it, their TP team principal. James Vowles. Vowles, spelt like vowels, but L-E-S, not E-L-S. Got me? So James Vowles, born June 20th, 1979, is a British motorsport engineer. He was the chief strategist at Mercedes-AMG Petronas Motorsport Formula One team, more commonly referred to as MAPMFO, from 2010 to 2023. On January 13th, 2023, Williams Racing announced Vowles to be their new team principal as of their 2023 season, succeeding former team principal Jost Capito. Vowles has worked in many Formula One teams as a race engineer and strategist and enjoyed success. With 2 different Formula One teams, he has won 9 Constructors' Championships and over 100 Grand Prix, a lot of those with Lewis. Vowles was responsible for the Brawn GP race strategy. Okay, that's pretty impressive, which was critical to the team's championship-winning 2009 season, probably the most shocking or unforeseen championship seasons of all time in F1, at least recent F1. After working with the championship-winning Brawn GP, Vowles stayed with the team after its sale to Mercedes in 2010. So he's been pretty close with Toto and the guys. Obviously a big part of winning their titles, and I didn't know a big part of Brawn and their race strategy in 2009. So very, very interesting. He will be joining Williams. Maybe potentially, because Williams and Mercedes are linked, so maybe potentially a future replacement for Toto, or I don't know. We'll see. I know Lewis still has his guy on the radio, so that is good for this season. But yeah, that's Williams' team principal announced. And another thing that was announced in terms of the calendar for 2023 is that it will be 23 races. 23 races. They were hoping to do 24, but COVID situation in China was really bad, and then it looked like they were maybe getting it a little fixed, and then no. So they're not even going to replace it. I mean, I don't know. I was kind of hoping they'd do 24 just because there's a lot of other tracks I want to see them try out, but it is what it is. The only real bad thing that's going to come with it, because I mean 23 races is still quite a few races. We're getting a lot, but the main issue that it causes now is we've got Australia April 2nd and then Azerbaijan April 30th, so pretty big gap there. Just so after the 3rd race of the season we have like a month off, so that's going to be tough. But if there's anything we've known from the past in F1 is that whenever there's breaks, that's usually when the drama and all the rumors and everything starts going crazy. So that little month off is going to be tough there, but I mean, understandable, the logistics of it to get something figured out now, and it's only 3 months away basically, would have been quite tough. So understandable, disappointing, but no China and no replacement is the news on that one. We also have some more livery announcements. We've got pretty much the entire grid. I think 8 of 10 teams now. All that remains is Haas and Alfa Romeo. Got him. So we have a new first release upcoming in just over 2 weeks. February 3rd, Red Bull. They're doing it in New York City. Whether Max Verstappen will decide to actually show up this time because he didn't show up in Vegas remains to be seen. Maybe he's still going to be complaining about his sim racing. But we'll get to that a little later. But yeah, I digress. Red Bull, February 3rd is the first one we currently have. This toque's pissing me off. And yes, we call them toques here, not beanies. Let's see here. How's that? I'm going to have to watch the YouTube for a nice hair reveal here. I'm a little greasy. Toque's going back on. Oh yeah. Great distraction there. So yeah, where was I? We got February 3rd, Red Bull. That'll be interesting. I mean, will it be interesting? Probably not. It'll probably just be a repeat of the same car they've had forever. But then we've got February 6th, Williams. 11th, AlphaTauri. 13th, Aston Martin. 13th, McLaren. 14th, Ferrari. 15th, Mercedes. And 16th, Alpine. Interested to see if Mercedes goes back to black or gray, the silver arrows like they did last year. We'll see. We will see. And yeah, of course, February 23rd is when the preseason testing starts. So Alpine, currently the last team announced theirs, is a week ahead of that. So yeah, pretty much right from the start of February, we got car launches, and we're going to do our draft for the season pretty soon. I missed a guy earlier. Oh, it's hard. It's the reverse. Who do we got? DXA. He works here now. Yeah. Anyways, so that's the livery announcements. We got our weekly countdown to Bahrain. March 5th. January 18th is today. Wednesday, January 18th. To March 5th. Sunday, March 5th, 2023. First race of the year. Bahrain. 46 days. So we're under 50. We are under 50. Making progress in that way. But we did have... Oh man, my transitions are pretty good this week. We did have another race, some racing to watch this weekend because the Formula E season, they debuted in Mexico. They had to make a few changes to the track because I think there were some braking issues or something. I don't know. It also looked like there was just a lot more barriers around. It looked... I'll say it looked different. It looked different than the F1 Mexico track we're used to seeing, but I don't know, maybe it's just camera angles and whatever. I know they had to change like the whole middle sector. I don't know that, I could be wrong on that. I read that. So, but yeah, it was still really interesting. The cars had some changes this year, kind of similar to what the F1 cars went through last year, so it was cool to see that. Obviously that's going to take a little bit for that to progress, but it was just cool to see cars on track. It was a good race. There was a really good battle for third position. But the main thing that caught my eye that I wanted to talk about from it is their qualifying format. I think it could work for F1 because like the one I like F1's qualifying format. You know, it goes the 20 to 15 to 10, and then it's just a shootout basically for pole. But we've seen a lot of the times last year, and I think it's going to happen a lot more this year now that people kind of know that it's a possibility, is the causing a red flag or a yellow flag or whatever the case may be in qualifying to either, if you're on pole, stops everyone else, or if your teammate is, you can kind of keep your position and kind of screw everyone else over just by, car slid, I turned out, hit the wall, oops. It's kind of Perez and Monaco last year. So, yeah, whether you like that or don't like that, I think it's at least worth considering what Formula E does, because I think it's very interesting. And I will elaborate on that. F1 actually has announced slight changes to their qualifying in this season, just for like 2 races. 1 second here. F1 23 qualifying changes. I think I have it in... Yeah. I think it's in here. Yes. Okay, so we'll get to that in a minute. But back to Formula E. So their qualifying format, I think it started last year. Could be wrong on that. The format allows the best teams and drivers to showcase their... Okay, I'm not going to go through that. Basically, what happens is... All right, I will read this. The group stage, so they got 22 drivers on the grid in Formula E. Okay, so they split them into 2 groups of 11. Basically, like, first place, third place, fifth place, seventh place, based on the standings, are in one group, second, fourth. So odds in one group, evens in another group, descending by World Championship order. And then, so those are split into 2 groups of 11. Those each do a 10-minute, I believe a 10-minute qualifying session. And then out of those, so Group A, 11 drivers, the top 4 times from that move on. Group B, their top 4 drivers also move on. So you got 8 drivers then in the second round of qualifying. And they do, like, number 1 from Group A goes against number 4 from Group B. Head to head. I don't know how many laps they get. A 10-minute... Yeah, I'm not sure if it's a 1-lapper after that. Or they get another... Or they just get 1 lap each. Would be kind of cool too. But... Yeah, I should have looked at that earlier. But yeah, so then they go head to head, then it goes like, those 8 go down to 4, then that goes down to 2, and then they have a finals, head to head. Whoever wins that gets pole. The other guy gets second, so forth, so on and so forth. And then 5th to 12th place drivers who competed in the pole sitters group will fill the odd positions on the grid. So if the pole sitter comes from Group 1, the 5th place driver in Group 1 will line up on 9th on the starting grid, and the 5th place driver in Group 2 takes 10th, and so on. So obviously if you make it to in the top 8, you're slotted how you finish, and then it goes whatever group you're in. So yeah, I think that's a really interesting way to do it. It would be very exciting having literally a straight up like Max versus Charles, Max versus Lewis, Lewis versus Charles, so on and so forth, up and down the grid. I mean, even like, having, say you had like Lando versus Piastri in the first race, and like once you get down to the semifinals or even the finals, you really can push it, because like if you happen to spin out, you're going to start second instead of first. So I don't know, I think that'd be really cool for F1 to bring it to the mix. Another thing that they do, which I also think would be worthy of adding, is if you get pole in Formula E, you get 3 points. Now I think they would have to change the format, because if actual points are on the line, like what we saw, as I mentioned, with Perez in Monaco, that will happen more, and we just can't have actual points being given out when things like that are going to be happening. So I love what they're doing with their qualifying. I would like to see F1 kind of implement something like that. I like the knockout. I like the head-to-head battles, and then being rewarded with some points. I think it's great. I think what they're doing is smart, and it's kind of a good testing ground. So that brings me to another place that we see some testing going on. No, I tried. The next topic I've got here, Lando Norris. Obviously McLaren's really good at their socials, putting out videos and whatnot. So I was just watching today, they put out a video, I think it's called like Lando's Track Day or something like that. And I always love watching videos of these guys karting, because it's just like a professional Formula 1 driver driving a go-kart is, I don't know, it's just fascinating to me. It's like they're doing a kid's thing, but doing it at the peak level. And you wouldn't think that there's much of a difference, but you see in this Lando racing against the guys that work at the track, I believe, or no, maybe they're McLaren employees as well, but it seems like they know the track well and know what they're doing, and they're like sort of experts at the track. But Lando just blows them out of the water, and it's cool seeing like him, the way he takes turns, like sliding through the turns is the way they do. But then there's a little surprise at the end of the video that Oscar Piastri makes his McLaren video debut, I guess, with Lando, and he hops on the track and karts with Lando, and I mean, he's right on Lando's keister, as they say. So it was cool, a wholesome video, lots of little laughs and giggles from Lando in there, and it was cool to see him and Piastri on track together, even though it was just in a go-kart. It was cool. I think Piastri, he looked a little bit shy in maybe a little overwhelmed in the filming aspect of it, like the interview portion of it. But no, it was cool. I'm looking forward to seeing. Obviously, Danny and Lando had some great videos last year, so really looking forward to seeing how Oscar can fill those shoes. But we are going to see a little bit of Oscar and a lot of Danny in Drive to Survive. Drive to Survive Season 5 has a release date. The release date is... So I didn't actually know this, but I just saw that Season 3 and Season 4, they released 9 days before the opening race of the season. Now Season 5, same thing. Yeah. So Season 4 was... Season starts March 20th, they released March 11th. Season 3, season starts March 19th, they released... Season starts March 20th, they released March 19th. This year, the season starts on March 5th, and the 5th season of Drive to Survive will be released on February 24th, 2023. Now, we mentioned last week that there's a golf one coming February 15th, and there's currently a tennis one on Netflix. So they're kind of, I don't know if they're kind of oversaturating the market within 1 month, putting out 3 of these style shows. Kind of disappointing for the F1 one that's coming out last, but it is what it is. I don't know how much excitement there's going to be. Yeah, I think, what did I say? They'll no doubt touch on the controversy of the Red Bull cost cap breach and cover many teams' trials and tribulations. The big change going into the season were the big regulation changes, which notably changed how cars can follow each other and led to more overtaking. So yeah, obviously they'll touch on that. Their kind of trailer is very cookie cutter, offering unprecedented... Actually, I'm trying to do this like Will Buxton. Offering unprecedented access, this new season will once again take fans behind the scenes to witness firsthand how the drivers and teams prepare to battle it out for the 2022 FIA Formula One Championship. The series will offer never-before-seen footage and interviews from the sport's biggest names. And now the key in qualifying is you want to finish ahead of the person behind you, and you want to cross the finish line first in the race. Alright, there we go. That was my Will Buxton for the day. So yeah, just to sum that up, Drive to Survive will release on Netflix February 24th. So look out for that. A couple more little things here. Miami has announced a couple little changes for 2023. That's coming up pretty soon. May 7th, I believe. Maybe earlier. Let's see. May 7th. Let's go me. May 7th. So they're repaving. They're repaving the entire track because some issues with overtaking and all that business last year. So that is good news to hear. But the coolest thing I just saw, it's not just the on-track action that's receiving attention. With a brand spanking new paddock club built inside Miami Dolphins Hard Rock Stadium, which is kind of like they do the race basically in the parking lot-ish of the stadium. So for the first time ever, fans who buy general admission campus pass tickets, general admission and campus pass kind of go against each other, but we'll see behind the scenes workings of an F1 paddock with access to the 300 level of Hard Rock Stadium that will look directly into the team village from above. Garfinkel, I don't know, I'm guessing that's someone that runs the race, hopes that it will be the best in class for everyone to enjoy, and there will also be an increased capacity for the 2023 race. I'll put the picture in. It looks really cool. I mean, it's just like the stadium, and then where the field is, they have all the team tents and all that stuff kind of around the edge of the field with a little bit of a gathering spot in the middle. So I'll throw that picture in. It looks pretty cool. Gonna have to send out our media request for media credentials for that pretty soon here. Yeah, hopefully we'll be there. Maybe not, but May 7th coming up. Yeah, that'll be interesting. It's kind of it wasn't the best race last year, but the show itself is really cool. Yeah, so we'll see where that goes. In terms of actual changes for the 2023 season, there is 10 changes. There are pardon my grammar, 10 changes. Gonna go over them quick. There's one that I want to read more in depth, but I'll go over the 10 changes quick. Number 1, ride height and diffusers adjusted. Kind of just to track and hopefully get rid of porpoising. 2, stronger roll hoops. This is coming in after Zhou Guanyu's crash. Obviously he walked out of it okay, but says there will be a new physical homologation test where the load pushes the roll hoop in a forward direction. Now state a rounded top is required on the roll hoop, which will reduce the chance of it digging into the ground during an accident. Okay, number 3, a reduction in the minimum car weight. That kind of speaks for itself. Number 4, revised mirrors to improve driver visibility. They're going from the width of the reflective surface increasing by 50 millimeters, from 150 to 200 millimeters. Pretty cool stuff. Number 5, double the number of sprint events. This is one that I know Adrian doesn't like. I kind of like. Basically 1 in 4 races we got a sprint. We'll see how that goes, but I think it's interesting that they are changing a few things. The tracks are Baku, Austria, Spa, Qatar, Coda, and Brazil, Interlagos, which most are great tracks for a sprint. They are changing the accident damage allowance. It is now a fixed amount per team, $300,000. I mean, I'm not going to pretend to really grasp that. I guess how much, whatever. Alongside the park firm. This is why I need Adrian to, just kind of give myself a breather once in a while. Alongside this, Parc Fermé rules on sprint weekends are under review for 2023, with the aim of simplifying the setup locking process after the FIA cited a significant increase in Parc Fermé requests between Friday's qualifying session and Saturday's sprint. So for those who don't know, and I don't know 100%, but just from playing the video game, Parc Fermé means once you start qualifying, you're not allowed to change your car the rest of the weekend. I mean, you can change a few simple little things, but basically the car setup is the car setup once you go out on track for qualifying. Now, I guess teams wanted to maybe change that because they have qualifying, sprint, practice session, race. So maybe they want a little more leeway there. I don't know. Number 6, paddock working hours cut. That seems good. These guys work way too much. Number 7, and I'll go back over this one in the end, qualifying format and DRS trials. So I'll go over that in a sec. But number 8, tweaks around gearbox changes. Couldn't care less. Number 9, a move to clear up penalty confusion. Number 10, more flexibility to cool fuel. It sounds fun. Cool fuel. Cool your fuel. Yeah. I don't know, I sounded pretty cool saying that. Okay, so I'm going to go back. Qualifying format and DRS trials. A revised qualifying format, or as they put in brackets, RQF. Well, now RQF will take place at up to 2 events in 2023. RQF. For the purpose of evaluating whether the revisions are suitable for subsequent championships as per the updated regulations. RQF will see tire compounds mandated for each stage of F1's usual 3-part qualifying session. So Q1 of RQF, just hard tires. Q2 of RQF, just medium tires. Q3, you guessed it, RQF, just soft tires. So we're going to go hard, we're going to go medium, we're going to go soft. That sounds interesting. I mean, I kind of don't really, I don't know what the point of that is really, but they're also going to give them less sets of tires over the course of the weekend to use. And as for DRS, no fancy wording for this one because it's already DRS. As for DRS, its activation after the start, race restart, or safety car restart will also be evaluated, with the F1 Commission exploring the possibility of bringing this forward by 1 lap at the start of the race, or sprint, or safety car restart. This will be trialed during each sprint session in 2023, with a view to introducing it for all races in 2024. So look out for that. That's kind of cool that Adrian and I have talked about for a little while that, having the DRS kick in one lap earlier would be nice. You can't really have it start on the first lap. You gotta let everyone get around the track. But if they could, especially after a safety car, instead of having to wait 2 full laps after they've already like unlapped and everything, a little much. So bump that down to 1 lap, get the cars going on DRS a little quicker. That will be cool. So those are the changes coming. We'll probably go over those a little more as we learn more. Let's see. F1 personality test. Let's see. I'm gonna go through this one. It's not gonna take long. You know what? I'm gonna put this in post. So I want to be able to show the screen as I'm doing it. Okay. Let's do it. Which F1 driver should you support? 2023. Start. Which of these personalities would you support in F1? Proven winner, young hotshot, veteran racer, talent waiting to be unleashed. Which of these personalities would you support? I would support all of them, but I'm going to say either proven winner or young hotshot. Proven winner. What kind of helmet design would you prefer wearing? Gold. I'm the best. Fluorescent, I want to be seen. Team colors, representing the squad. Flag colors, representing my country. Ooh. It's either team or flag. Let's go flag. What's your ideal meal? Nothing beats my parents' cooking. The vegan or vegetarian option. I'll eat anything and everything, or make it spicy. Definitely not this one. Definitely not this one. It's either spicy or parents. Let's go, Mom. Nothing beats my parents. Which of these best describes you? Underdog, win at all costs, plucky and bold, wise and patient. Probably not patient. Probably not win at all costs. So either underdog or plucky and bold. I'm going to go plucky and bold. What's your ideal Friday night? Pump some iron, hit the town, play some video games, stay in and do something creative. Let's be honest here. Hit the town. What's your favorite type of circuit? Street tracks, old school circuits, brand new circuits, wherever my home circuit is. Old school circuits for sure. Almost done. What's your music taste? Radio silence, classic rock, hip hop, or pop? Let's go classic rock or hip hop? Classic rock. What would you wear to a Grand Prix? Team gear, designer threads, smart casual, whatever's comfiest. I wore team gear when I went to Montreal. Which of these F1 cars would you take out on track? McLaren MP4, Ferrari 312T, Lotus 25, Williams FW19. So not the Williams. It's either the Lotus, because it looks old, Ferrari, because it's a Ferrari, or McLaren, because that looks like around when Lewis started. I don't think I could pass up driving a Ferrari. And finally, where would you like to live? Swish Monaco apartment, massive countryside mansion, beachside villa, surrounded by nature. They all sound pretty nice. Definitely not surrounded by nature. Beachside villa sounds nice. Massive countryside mansion sounds nice. But Monaco apartment, that's the way to go. Oh, Charles Leclerc, Ferrari's Monegasque star, who will surely be gunning for the title this season. And he drove a Ferrari 312T until the wheels came off. Monaco isn't his favorite hunting ground just yet. Alright, so there you have it. Charles. So, there's that. And Maximus. Max Verstappen. I mean, when I saw this headline, it filled me up with filled me up with joy like a little boy. I was giddy. I was excited to watch this clip because the title of it was like, Max Verstappen throws hissy fit, loses it on virtual racing server. So I'm thinking, oh man, this guy is already a psychopath. He is taking it out on poor gamers now. Not just other people on the grid, Formula 1 drivers. He's taking it out on gamers. Guys just trying to play a game, mind their own business in their house. Well, he's making millions of dollars. It's a shame. But no, that's not really what happened. So basically he was in the virtual Le Mans 24-hour sim racing event. And this is something that he'd been training for a long time. There's a lot of other professional drivers in it, IndyCar drivers, NASCAR drivers, F2 drivers, former F1 drivers. Like, there's a lot of big names in this thing, and they do train for it quite a bit. And you know what? I'll give Max a little bit of credit. The video, he actually keeps his composure pretty well. But here is basically what happened. Reigning F1 world champion Max Verstappen declared the virtual Le Mans 24-hour sim racing event a, quote, clown show after his team lost a likely victory 18 hours into the race when they disconnected from the server. I'd be pretty pissed too. Verstappen was leading the sim racing event in the #1 Team Redline entry with teammates Luke Browning, Jeffrey Reitveld, and Diogo Pinto until they disconnected from the race's server with only 6 hours remaining. The race, held on Motorsports Games' R-Factor 2 platform, had been stopped multiple times on Saturday due to a security breach with the server. They call it amazingly bad luck. Well, this is just incompetence, Verstappen said. Honestly, it's a joke. You cannot call this an event, a clown show. That's why it's better to retire the car, because driving around in P15 for 6 hours makes no sense for everyone. Just a disgrace for all the effort we put in as a team. I hope the organizers of today also consider whether they put this race going forward, because on this platform, it's not going to work. That's my Max impression. Not great. It'll do. The race was run by his same team, Team Redline entry, #2 entry, driven by IndyCar racer Felix Rosenqvist, F2 champion Felipe Drugovich, Luke Bennett, and Chris Lolum. So, understandable they would get upset. Just funny when you see, anything with the headline Max throwing a temper tantrum. I even, because even reading those quotes, I was like, oh, this is a little spicy. But then I watched the video, and, he was very matter-of-fact the way he said it, and it makes sense. Like, if you're going to host this big event, at least make sure your servers are working and not getting hacked. And I think it was the first time he was disconnected, he went 1st to 17th and half a lap back, and then just got wiped out. So yeah, when 4 guys are splitting a 24-hour race, and you get 18 hours into it, and you're winning, and then the servers mess up, and this happened to a lot of other people, not just them. Very frustrating. So I'll give Max a bit of a break on this one. All right, you hear that, Adrian? Ooh, another video game thing. There's allegations of cheating in F1 2022. There's a couple of videos going around on Reddit, on Twitter. Because people are like Jarno Watmir and a couple Blake, whatever. A couple of guys that were just always at the top of the esports game, F1 esports, kind of dropped down a little bit last year. People just thought the competition is getting better, but now there's a one video in particular, but a couple of videos coming out of just basically showing that guys are cheating. A lot of people after COVID have been allowed to play on their own rigs at home to do the esports races. And there's one video in particular where the guy's driving around Silverstone, and you can just see the grip, he's missing the apexes, he's missing the turns, he's coming out of turns slow, but somehow his acceleration out of these turns and his speed when he's taking turns is just kilometers, 5-10 kilometers ahead of the top players in the game, which are going around turns and stuff. Shouldn't happen. So people have been breaking those videos down, and it seems like there's some sort of grip hack that these people playing on PC have been able to use, and I don't know, it's pretty disappointing. It's already a very hard, steep learning curve in terms of the game and the people that are really good at it. Not to mention they already have pro F1 esports gamers get basically a different version of the game. So then to take that and mod it even further and cheat, I don't know. I guess if you're not cheating or not trying, you could make that argument, but it's a video game, and it almost just makes it more impressive that guys like Jarno are still up there when they're competing against people that are cheating. So good on him. Good on, I think it's Blake Live. No, not Blake Live. It's Blake something. I'm gonna find it out, and I'm gonna put a little caption on this. But yeah, a couple of the OGs are still doing it, so that's good. Yeah, that's pretty much all I've got. About a 40-minute episode this week. Not bad without Adrian. Yeah, when he comes back next week, we've got to kind of want to discuss the cheating thing with him, and go figure out what happened with that delivery. If anyone has any advice, please let me know what I should do. with that lost delivery, because it's very imperative that Adrian gets some Formula One merchandise before the season begins. So if anyone has any ideas on that, let me know. Also, please like and subscribe, both on the podcast and on the YouTube. Makes a big difference for us. We're trying to get to the stage of getting a little bit of advertising money to help us out a little bit. So any numbers we can do are helpful. So yeah, I hope listening to just me rambling on for about 40 minutes wasn't too tough on the ear holes out there. But yeah, I appreciate it. Adrian will be back next week. A little bit unfortunate. He had the internet just go down last minute, so that sucks. What else? I've got a bachelor party that I'm going to this weekend, so when you see me next week, I might be a little having more bigger bags under these eyes here. But yeah, looking forward to talking back with Adrian next week, hopefully figuring out that delivery, getting closer to the season, a month and a week away from testing. So, and yeah, as I said, only 46 days until lights out. So thank you everyone. Again, hope that you enjoyed it. We'll talk next week.